There are two types of people in this world, eagles and crows. And the difference isn't talent, intelligence, or circumstances. The difference is three specific habits. Habits that anyone can develop, but most people never will. Eagles soar alone at heights others fear. Crows flock together in chaos, feeding on whatever's easy. Eagles build empires. Crows complain about the eagles. Eagles create. Crows consume. Today, you discover exactly which habits separate the two. Because understanding the difference isn't enough, you have to become it. Before we get into the three habits, let's be clear about what we actually mean by eagles and crows. This isn't about superiority. This isn't about looking down on others. This is about mindset, about how you operate in the world. Crows are everywhere. They move in groups. They're loud. They feed on garbage and roadkill, taking what's easy, what's already dead, what requires no effort to obtain. They gather around drama. They thrive in chaos, and they attack anything that rises above them. Eagles are rare. They fly alone or with one carefully chosen partner. They're silent. They hunt live prey, putting in the work, the patience, the skill required to catch something alive and vital. They avoid the noise at ground level, and they soar at altitudes where crows can't even breathe. The question isn't which one you admire. The question is which one you're becoming. Because right now, every single day, your habits are answering that question, whether you are or not. Here are the three habits that decide it. Habit 1. Eagles protect their minds. Crows surrender theirs. Walk into any social situation and you can immediately identify the crows. They're the ones who cannot function without group validation, who need to be surrounded constantly, who panic at the thought of being alone with their own thoughts, who measure their worth by how many people are around them and what those people think. They travel in packs. They make decisions by consensus. They adopt the opinions of whatever group they're part of without stopping to ask whether those opinions are actually true. They need constant social proof that they're okay, that they're accepted, that they belong. And this dependence on the flock makes them controllable. Because if your sense of worth comes from group acceptance, you will do whatever the group requires to maintain it. You will compromise your values. You will suppress your authentic thoughts. You will perform whatever version of yourself the group rewards. You become a crow, not by choice, but by social survival instinct. Eagles operate differently. They are selective about what they let into their minds. They are selective about company. They are comfortable in solitude. They don't need constant social validation because they have developed something far more durable: internal validation. They know who they are, whether anyone else is watching or not. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "I've often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others." The crow lives this contradiction every day. Loves himself, but cannot validate himself. Needs others to confirm his worth before he can feel it. The eagle has transcended this entirely. Values his own clear-eyed assessment above external opinion. This isn't arrogance, it's sovereignty. It's the refusal to outsource your judgment to people who haven't earned that authority. Think about your own life. Whose opinions are you carrying right now that were never yours to carry? Whose voice is in your head telling you what's possible, what's appropriate, what you should want? How much of what you believe about yourself was handed to you by people who are just as lost as you are? The eagle audits this ruthlessly. The crow never questions it at all. Here is the practice. Spend 1 hour a day in complete solitude. No phone, no people, no entertainment, just you and your thoughts. The discomfort you feel in that silence, that's crow programming. The instinct to fill the space, to check something, to reach for external input. That's the flock calling you back. Resist it. Sit with the discomfort. Over time, you will discover that you are okay alone. that your own thinking is worth listening to, that you don't need constant external input to feel whole or certain or real. That is the first transformation from crow to eagle, from needing the flock to trusting yourself. Habit 2. Eagles hunt live prey. Crows feed on garbage. Crows are scavengers. They wait for easy opportunities. They take what's already dead, what's already available, what requires no effort or risk to obtain. They see someone else succeed and immediately try to copy the formula without understanding the work that built it. They chase trends. They feed on drama, gossip, other people's failures. They are always looking for the shortcut, the hack, the path that gets results without requiring the work that results actually demand. Eagles are hunters. They identify what they want, alive, vital, challenging to obtain, and they pursue it with focus, patience, and skill. They don't wait for opportunities to fall into their laps. They create opportunities through sustained effort over time. They are willing to fail repeatedly to catch one real success. They are willing to go without rather than settle for garbage. They understand that anything worth having requires work that most people will not do. Think about how this plays out in practice. The crow approach to building a career. What's trending right now? What can I copy? What's the path of least resistance? How do I get results without doing the hard thing? The eagle approach. What problem can I solve better than anyone else? What skill is worth years of deliberate practice? What am I willing to build slowly because I know it will be real when it's done? The crow approach to relationships. What can I get from this person? Who makes me look good? How do I benefit with minimal investment? The eagle approach. Who do I genuinely respect? Who challenges me to become more? Who is worth the discomfort of real depth and real honesty? See the pattern? Crows want easy. Eagles want excellent. Crows want fast. Eagles want lasting. Crows want to appear successful. Eagles want to actually be capable. Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Crows see difficulty and retreat to what's comfortable. Eagles see difficulty and recognize it as the filter that keeps crows away. The harder something is to build, the fewer people who will build it. The more effort something requires, the more valuable the result. The obstacle isn't in the way. For the eagle, the obstacle is the way. Here is the practice. Identify one area of your life where you are currently feeding on garbage, where you are taking the easy path, where you are settling for what's convenient rather than what's actually valuable. Maybe it's your work. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your relationships. Maintaining surface connections instead of building anything with depth. Whatever it is, commit to hunting instead of scavenging. Commit to doing the hard thing. Not because it's dramatic, not because struggle is romantic, but because the result on the other side of real effort is something a shortcut will never give you. The difficulty is not the problem. The difficulty is the point. It's what separates the eagles from the crows. Habit 3. Eagles soar above the chaos. Crows live in it. Crows exist at ground level. They are in the middle of every conflict, every drama, every crisis, every piece of chaos they can find. They feed on it. They spread it. They cannot function without it. Watch crows in any environment. At work, in a social circle, online. They are always involved in whatever chaos is currently happening. They gossip about conflicts. They take sides in drama. They manufacture problems where none existed just to have something to react to. Why? Because chaos gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them something to do. It gives them a way to feel significant without actually building anything significant. Eagles operate from altitude. They rise above the chaos. Not because they are passive, not because they don't care, but because they understand that most of what happens at ground level is noise. Distractions. Drama that will not matter in a year. Conflicts that don't deserve the energy they demand. From altitude, you see clearly. You act strategically instead of reacting emotionally. You choose your battles instead of being pulled into every skirmish. Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Eagles focus on what is in their power. Their responses, their choices, their actions, their direction. Crows focus on what is outside their power. Other people's behavior, external circumstances, the chaos swirling around them, and they wonder why they feel exhausted and stuck. Think about your last week. How much time did you spend engaged with chaos that didn't actually matter? How much energy went to conflicts that weren't yours? How much attention did you give to drama that you will have completely forgotten in 6 months? If you are honest, the answer is a lot. Because that is the default setting. That is crow behavior. And it is exhausting in a specific way. It drains everything while producing nothing. You end the day tired but with nothing built, nothing moved, nothing created. Just energy spent at ground level on noise. The eagle's practice is simple but requires consistency. Every time you feel pulled into chaos, drama, conflict, outrage, someone else's emergency that is not actually your emergency, stop. Ask yourself one question. Does engaging with this move my life forward, or does it just feel urgent? Most of the time, the answer is that it just feels urgent, so don't engage. Maintain your altitude. Redirect your energy toward what actually matters. Your goals, your growth, your work, the people who genuinely need you. This will feel like you're missing something at first. The pull of the flock is real. The FOMO of not knowing, not weighing in, not being part of the noise. It's uncomfortable. But over time, you will discover that almost nothing you opted out of actually mattered. And the energy you conserved by staying above it, that energy built something real. Now let's talk about what actually happens when you commit to these 3 habits, because understanding them is only step 1. Living them is where everything changes. The first thing you will notice is resistance, not from the world, from yourself. Because you have likely been practicing crow behaviors for years, possibly decades. Those patterns are familiar. They feel like identity. When you start protecting your mind instead of surrendering it to the flock, it will feel strange. When you start pursuing difficult things instead of easy ones, you will feel the pull of the shortcut constantly. When you start rising above chaos instead of living in it, you will feel the guilt of disengagement. Push through. That discomfort is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're doing something different, and different, in this context, is exactly right. The second thing you will notice is that the crows in your life will not celebrate your transformation. They will resist it. When you choose solitude, they will call you antisocial. When you pursue difficult goals, they will call you unrealistic. When you stop engaging in their drama, they will call you cold. This is predictable. Your discipline reminds them of their lack of it. Your elevation exposes their willingness to stay at ground level. And rather than rise to meet you, most will try to pull you back down. Because that is easier. Be ready for this. Be willing to let some relationships change. Not because you have abandoned those people, but because some connections were only sustainable while you are operating as a crow. As you become an eagle, you will naturally drift from certain parts of the flock. This is uncomfortable. It is also necessary. What you gain in exchange is far more valuable than what you release. You gain clarity. You gain genuine capability built through real effort. You gain the rare, quiet confidence of someone who knows who they are because they have spent time actually becoming that person rather than performing a version of it for an audience. And you will find other eagles. They are rare. But they exist. And when you connect with them, those relationships are completely different from anything the flock offers. Built on mutual respect, not mutual dependence. On growth, not validation. On substance, not noise. But you have to be willing to soar alone long enough to find them. Here is where you are right now. You have a choice, and you are making it whether you feel like you are or not. Every day you spend feeding on garbage instead of hunting is a choice. Every hour you spend in the chaos at ground level instead of rising above it is a choice. Every time you surrender your mind to the flock instead of protecting it is a choice. The question is whether you are making those choices consciously or simply drifting into them by default. Crows drift. Eagles decide. 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you will be somewhere. The only question is whether you chose that somewhere or drifted into it. Whether the life you're living reflects the habits of an eagle or the habits of a crow. 3 habits. Protect your mind. Hunt, live, pray. Soar above the chaos. Simple to understand. Difficult to practice. Absolutely transformative if you persist. Eagles fly alone at heights crows can never reach. Not because they are lucky. Not because they were born different. Because they developed the habits that altitude requires. This is mind armor, where eagles aren't admired from a distance. They are built from within. Start today, not tomorrow. Today.